If you want to become a leader worth following and want to learn skills which are generally not taught elsewhere, listen along. Almost all leaders today lead in an environment that is ripe with disruptions and ever changing competitive landscape. The challenges of leading in this constantly evolving landscape are very different from that of leading in a stable environment where the current management practices are rooted in. Almost everything that is being taught in a business school or in a leadership training course is geared towards leading in a very stable environment. Very few courses, very few people teach how to lead in a environment which is constantly in a flux, right? So if we have to succeed in this new world, we need to change the lens through which we view leadership and management practices. That begs the question, where can we draw inspiration from? Now, thankfully, we don't need to look far. We can learn from almost anything. And today we will talk about what can we learn to become a leader worth following from evolutionary biology. So leading an organization today and how evolution works are very, very similar. They are both a part of and navigate complex adaptive systems. And nature has had a long time to perfect the techniques and tactics that have allowed life to bloom. So I think there are some interesting and important lessons that we can learn from nature and the evolutionary process on how to lead in a complex adaptive system, which is what the world today is, right? So, but before we do that, we need to first understand the foundational tenets of evolutionary biology. So, number one, random events produced first signs of life. Since then, variation, either through mutation, which is the principle of adjacent possible, and genetic drift, which is random shifts due to whatever reasons, provides the impetus for evolution. Selection acts as the fitness test, which is the ability to reproduce and stay alive, right? So that's the selection process. It gives a fitness test, and whoever is successful, their traits are passed on to the next generation, which is through inheritance. Deep time allows cumulative changes to produce new functions or species. So long-term shifts, small shifts over a period of long term become really, really complex and lead to the current life that we see as is. So which means that over time, simple rules, which is adjacent variant, adjacent possible, mutation, or random shifts over a period of time lead to complex patterns, behaviors, and species. Starting of our organization or of our team was a random event that started this journey of survival. So now let's look at each one of these and how it can actually help us in becoming a leader worth following. So embracing variation, which is adjacent possible and genetic drift. All evolution happens when there is some sort of variation, either within the organization or its context. This variation results in something new, which is then put through a rigorous test by its environment, and only those variations that are able to survive and navigate the environment successfully are then preferred. Every other variant slowly but definitely dies out. Similarly, as leaders, we need to create an ecology of ideas. We need to look at adjacent possibles, which is nothing but continuous improvement of the processes in our area of work all the time. We should also be on the lookout for the genetic drift, which is random breakthrough ideas, which can help us shift the level we operate at. Every time something changes, internally within our organizations or externally within the context in which we operate in, we need to explore and come up with experiments. And the one that is able to navigate these changes the best needs to be promoted, while the other ideas, slowly but surely, need to be died out. So what's the actionable tip here? For leaders, number one, Initiate everyone on the team to constantly explore ways to improve the existing processes by running small, smart experiments. We spoke about smart experiments, smart risks a couple of videos before. Check it out. And once in a while, maybe quarterly or whatever is the duration that you think is relevant, explore to identify game changing ideas. It's great if you succeed. If you not, you would at least have some more interesting experiments to run. Idea is to engage in the process. Now, the second principle, the selection acts as the filter for fitness. Evolution uses fitness as the only filter to assess whether a variation in a species continues to evolve or simply goes extinct. It is nature's job to be always creating variations, testing them for fitness, promoting the fit ones to be passed on, and killing off all other variations. It's exactly our job as a leader. We need to continue to create experiments, which is variations, both in adjacent possibles and attempted breakthroughs. Give them some air to test and continue to invest in those that are proving to be successful and kill those that are not. So, what is the actionable tip for leaders? Let ideas clash for investments. And the investments can be money, attention, and time. Let the best idea, which is defined before the process is run, win. And let the rest either die quickly or evolve by changing something in the idea and continuously running those experiments. The third one, which is inheritance of successful traits. So, in addition to variation, evolution also ensures that the successful traits are always passed on from one generation to the next. In exactly the same way, as leaders, it is our responsibility to ensure that good ideas and what we learn from those good ideas is spread across the organization and is passed on. This learning can be done by creating a systematic process for documenting and sharing of ideas, good ones that work well, and bad ones that didn't work and why they didn't work. This way, uh, everyone in the organization gets smarter and understands what's working and what's not working. In evolution, the only key criteria is for the organism to continue to survive as a species by reproducing itself. In business, the most important criteria is similar: to survive for another day. Anything that can help us in this regard needs to be well known and well shared within the team. Right? So, actionable tip here: ensure that best practices and good ideas are widely shared among the team so that everyone can learn and build on them. Last but not the least, let time play out. The biggest strength of the evolutionary process is that it takes its time and is in no hurry. It allows for simple variations, simple rules to compound over time to create complex abilities and species as a result. As leaders, we can also leverage the power of time on our side. By continuing to work on the different experiments, we are in a way creating a flywheel. This flywheel has the potential to compound over time and create an outsized impact for our business. We just need to trust in the process and let time do the rest. So, actionable tip for leaders: have a long term view and approach. Allow multiple small ideas to compound over time. So, what does all of this mean for us as a leader? Right? This requires us to shift from being a controller to a facilitator. So, we'll talk about what a facilitator does in a video coming soon. Creating environments that empower self organization, like what a gardener does. Right? We will talk about what can we learn from gardener sometime soon as well, through experimentation and optimizing for learning. We can do that by encouraging exploration and manipulation of ideas and contexts, designing robust feedback and feed-forward loops for continuous learning, empower our teams with autonomy, and reward experimentations, even failures, as long as we learn from them. Value diversity and inclusion to prevent blind spots and faster, robust solutions. Be comfortable with ambiguity and utilize managed tension between agents as a driver for adaptive change and novel information. Be responsive to environmental shifts. Continuously modify our internal models. Implement continuous learning loops, which is learning by doing. Leverage inherent resilience and self organization of complex adaptive systems. adopt adaptive governance, and decentralized decision making. As leaders, we need to treat leadership as experimentation. We treat decisions as hypotheses to be tested, learn from feedback, and adapt accordingly. Now, one of the most important concepts when it comes to evolutionary biology is the concept of self organization and emergence. In evolution, all of these principles play out and result in what we call as self organization and emergence. Emergence, by its definition, is random and cannot be predicted in advance and is a result of self organization. There's no one in charge there. This also shows that the overall entropy in the system is ever growing with variation and emergence. As leaders, we need to be aware and constantly looking for emergence as and when it emerges. Once we see what emerges, we can explore how to exploit this emergence towards our goals. Smart leaders are always on the lookout for emergence every time they change something, for both expected and unexpected consequences, and deal with them in real time. One of the results of emergence is also the concept of self organized criticality, where the response to a small action can be outsized and can cause ripple effects across the entire system. For example, when you add that one last grain of sand falling on an already tall sand pile, leading to the collapse of the entire sand pile. So, small action, which has happened many times, which is the drop of a grain of sand falling on a pile of sand, can create an outsized impact of the entire pile, collapsing. As leaders, we need to be constantly on the lookout for such criticality building up within our systems. So it's not a question of if it will build up, it's a question of where it is building up, and plan for the inevitable shock that will come. By being better prepared, we can not only minimize the shock, but possibly even find ways to leverage the shock to accelerate our pursuit of our goals. Now, in conclusion, this is all I have to say. Evolutionary biology offers an invaluable lens for leading complex adaptive systems. By embracing variation, facilitating selection via feedback, prioritizing adaptation over prediction, cultivating self-organization, and co-evolution, organizations can move beyond outdated management practices. When leaders act as adaptive facilitators, empowering systems to learn, evolve, and adapt to an unpredictable future, we build resilient and sometimes even an anti-fragile organization. And that can lead to consistent and significant high performance over a long and sustained period of time in a turbulent environment. So, as you can see, leaders worth following can learn about leadership from anything and everything. In order to succeed in the ever-evolving environment, we need to optimize for our ability to learn fast and learn well. Think about it. Take care.